your boy Luke here for our prize picks preview for this week's Players Championship. We're a few days removed from the API, which was carnage, a lot of fun, profitable for us here on the prize picks side. We hit 3 out of the 4 days on our card. On Sunday, it was our one miss, but you're going to have that from time to time. And we move on to my favorite event of the year. I'm going to be there in person for all 4 days, also for the practice round on Wednesday. So I'll have the inside scoop for you guys on all of your prize picks props for the weekend. And of course, for your props right now here for round 1. In this video, we'll be covering my top 5 props for the first round of this event. There's a little bit of weather in store for this weekend, so we'll talk about that when we go through the analysis and exactly how I expect the first round to shake out. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop right on into it. Alright, on the screen you can see the data golf profile. This is for the Players Championship. It's a course that plays relatively difficult. You can see a scoring average of 0.42 shots over par. In terms of its driving accuracy and its greens regulation though, it's right about tour average. In fact, it's about close to tour average as we're going to find. About 0.07% less than average for driving accuracy and just slightly above average in terms of GIR percentage. For prize picks, that means that if a player is good with greens and regulation, coming in with form, we can feel pretty confident taking the over, and of course vice versa for players. There's not going to be a huge bias when it comes to these stats, so you're going to see a lot of the greens and regulation stats in that 12 to 13 range, and for the fairways range, you're going to see them in that 9 to 10 range, just what we're used to seeing for the PGA Tour, and of course, according to the quality of player that we have, their specific skill set that they possess, you're going to see them priced accordingly. Now for the weather. We're going to see extremely wet conditions for Thursday and Friday. It's not really going to be a scattered thunderstorm. Moreover, thunderstorms for most of the day, which is rare for Florida. We don't usually see fronts come through like that, which is going to dump quite a bit of moisture on the golf course. I would expect the first round, maybe even the second round, to get delayed. Could potentially even take up until Saturday to finish the first 2 rounds. And in general, it's going to be a little bit easier to hit fairways just because they're not going to be running out as much. And the greens, also with a little bit of added moisture, might also be a little bit easier to hit. Conditions aren't necessarily going to be easier though, because it will play a little bit longer. You're not going to be getting some of that extra rollout off the tee. So in terms of scoring average, probably going to be right about what we're used to seeing from year to year. Over the weekend though, well, we'll get cold, also a little bit windy. It's a little bit too early to be speculating on that though. Could always get a little bit more difficult. Let's go ahead and hop into the prize picks board now though, and exactly the props that I'm taking for this round. Let's go ahead and start off with the strokes board, where first off I have my eyes on Daniel Berger in the under form there at 70.5 strokes. This is a par 72, which means that I'm betting on him scoring -2 or better for the first round. He's somebody who, of course, at the Honda Classic was firing on all cylinders for the first 3 rounds. Was routinely posting rounds of -3 or better. He had the putter working. In fact, all 4 major statistical categories, he gained over 3 shots gained at that event. It's something that's rare. We don't see it all that often. And of course, that's why he ended up finishing there in the top 5. A lot of the reason why there's a negative sentiment on Berger is, of course, because he quote-unquote blew the lead. And that's going to happen from time to time where he had that bad round. It really just looks all that much worse in hindsight because he had such a big lead going into the round. I mean, if he had been in 3rd place, had that type of day, nobody would be talking about it. In fact, he will probably be pretty happy about his top 25 finish. So I'll be taking a bet on the skill set. He's an extremely accurate iron player. That's exactly what I'm looking for at this venue. Also relatively accurate off the tee. And if there's a surface where he does his best work on the greens, it's Bermuda grass, which is the majority surface that they'll be playing on here at TPC Sawgrass. The next prop I have my eyes on is the under 71 on Jordan Spieth, which is even more appetizable because we have him at 71 rather than 70.5. If he ends up shooting 1 under par, which is probably going to be close to what a lot of these elite tier players average here for day 1. Of course, the scoring average is going to be close to even par, maybe even slightly over par for round 1. For the elite tier players, it's going to be a lot lower than that. So Jordan Spieth, somebody I'm confident at the very least shoots -1, if not better. He's an elite iron player. We hadn't really seen that for the fall swing. That's why he tended to struggle. We saw him miss a few cuts, post just some top 50 finishes, which aren't really what you're looking for from these elite tier players. A A lot of that was down to the iron play. He had started to lose with them, but now he's here in 2022. He's gained in 3 straight events with those irons, and that's the blueprint for Jordan Spieth to play some good golf. He's, of course, got the magical putter. That's what he's known for, that magical short game. And the off-the-tee play over the last 2 events has also been a positive. So somebody who things are trending up for him. I think he's a little bit priced higher on the board than he should be. So somebody I'm taking the under on with the strokes. Lastly, the last strokes prop I have my eyes on is an over, and it's for Dustin Johnson there at 70.5. And it might seem surprising given their caliber of player of Dustin Johnson, but he has not had much success at this venue. Over the years, he's tended to struggle a lot with his accuracy. He hasn't putted these greens very well. And if we take a look at some of the other comp courses, and the greens here are a little bit unique. I said before, they're a majority Bermuda grass. They are a mixture of Bermuda, bent grass, and it's Poa Anua. So it's a little bit of a mixture of those 3. You see them also at Innisbrook, which is where they have the Valspar Championship. Also the Country Club of Austin, where they have the match play. And one of the courses, the stadium course, where they have the American Express. There's a few other courses on the schedule as well. They have it. I can't think of them off the top of my head. But at all of those golf courses, he has struggled with his putter. In fact, he's not played at many of the other golf courses. The reason why he's here is because of the purse, of course. A lot of the reason he struggles is the setup as well. He's somebody who only hits a left to right moving ball, only hits a fade or a slice. He will not hit a draw. He's taken that completely out of his game. And when he's forced to do so, you see him struggle mightily. And at TPC Sawgrass, there are a ton of shots where you absolutely have to hit a draw. You're just required to hold the fairway. If not, you're going to be in a bunker. And Dustin Johnson is going to be in a ton of trouble this week when that is going to be the case. Last year, saw that in person. There was a shot, I believe it's hole number 4, where you have to hit a fade up to an elevated fairway, and he hit it all the way into the driving range, which is, of course, OB, and it caused him a lot of trouble. So Dustin Johnson, as much as I like the caliber of player, he could get super hot with the putter and end up burning us. The ball striking is going to be an issue, and at a golf course where the average is going to be near 72, is somebody I'm comfortable on taking the over on. Let's now go over to some of the individual props. First off, I have a, fairways hit prop here for Colin Morikawa. They're at 10.5. It was at 10 earlier in the day, which I was a little bit happier about. It's actually the prop I ended up hitting for my personal card. But even at 10.5, something that I am comfortable going to and giving out to all of you guys. This is the most accurate driver of the golf ball in the world. We're going to have those super soft conditions, which means for somebody that's really good at playing target golf, he's going to be clubbing down a lot as well because he's so good with those long irons. He should hit easily 11 fairways here. He's somebody who, over his last 8 tournaments, his last 8 measured rounds, has hit over 11 fairways 7 of the 8 times. So a majority of the time, this guy's going out there getting the job done for you. So even though he had a better line out there a little bit earlier in the week, is somebody I would still be willing to jump on there at that number. Next up, we're going to have Rory Mcilroy, the under for birdies or better at 4.5. And this is a tough course, right? Especially with the length that's added with the damp conditions and whatnot. But this is more of a fade of Rory Mcilroy after last week's debacle at the API. He talked afterwards about it being mentally taxing, just not fair, so on and so forth after his last 2 rounds. And he didn't seem to be in a generally happy mood. In fact, he said he needed a day off to try and reset. That's not usually a good sign for somebody's performance. And over the last year, he's really struggled on day one. In fact, he's really gotten himself behind the 8 ball in a lot of tournaments. In the early part of 2021, that's what had him missing a few cuts and really just playing himself out of contention. He would battle back in a lot of those tournaments, but because he would shoot 1 or 2 over on day one, wouldn't really have a shot to actually win the whole thing. So we unfortunately could see that once again tomorrow, particularly after being a little bit annoyed after Sunday there at the API where he fell victim to that carnage. That's all I've got for the round 1 prize picks targets. Before you go on and get out of here, let me know down in the comments what your favorite prop on the board is. Also, I'll be having a live stream on Wednesday covering everything I see at the practice round as I walk around. So if you're looking for prize picks targets, I'll also be talking about some of that during that live stream. It'll be Wednesday at 7 p.m. or right around there. It'll depend when I can get into my hotel that evening, but I'll have you guys covered, of course, from the course perspective and prize picks, and throughout the weekend for round 2 through round 4. So make sure you like the video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already done so you don't miss any of that content to come. Best of luck with all of your round 1 targets, and good luck. Let's get this cash.